I'm having feelings of deja vu all over again. We have another Pinsetter here with no power and an electrical problem. Let's take a look at this a little bit closer. This wire had been taped off when I got here, but it was just kind of dangling here all loosey-goosey, nowhere to be terminated. And then I looked in here, look at that, missing there's supposed to be a wire soldered into that terminal. My guess is yeah, look at this, it's got some remnants of ancient solder in there, another bad solder job. But let's take this wire and solder it back in there. Definitely took a wrong turn here. This wire's been omitted for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm not even going to pretend to know. This is a 3-pole motor start relay. You only need 2. So what I did when no one was looking was I plugged the machine in and turned the breaker on. Hold on. We have to unplug for safety as well as turn the breaker off. What I did is I powered the thing up and I touched the wire to the terminal. Nothing happened. Not a thing happened. But what I did notice is the motor, no matter what, it just kind of makes a humming noise. So my guess is that the motor itself has failed. So what we're going to do, we're going to unplug the drop cord down here right under my keister. We're going to probe the socket and we're going to see if we have 230 volts for these machines for our motor. So we've got our socket probed up right there. Can you see sort of somewhat? Let's plug it in and flip the breaker on and see. 236 volts on the socket. Motor no run. Mongo thinks motor is bad. We're gonna tape this up just like we found it. We're gonna put our cover on and then see if we might have another motor that we can use. Oh yeah, happy Saturday everybody. On a Sunday. It's a Sunday in A2 land today. Well, good news. They have a motor. This one's got an A-speed pulley on it, and that's okay. We'll swap it for the one that's out there. No big deal. Wow. Yeah, now that I've got my nose right up into this thing, getting these mount bolts out, I can smell it. It's the unmistakable smell of burning. But look down here, this is probably a exploded capacitor, electrolytic fluid, and then a little bit here too maybe. I don't know, hard to tell for sure, but it stinks pretty badly. Yeah, man, this is the motor that came out. It's never a good sign when you've got basically like hammer witness marks on here. Somebody beat it on when it should be just a kind of just an easy slide on and set your lock your set screws down over the keyway. So the good news is that one came apart real easy, didn't even need the puller, but we're gonna put the puller on this one. I think we're gonna need it. The annoying thing here is that we've got 2 different size pardon me, screws in here. That'll fit, I think. Yes. I want to at least bring the set screw, grub screw, if you want to call it a grub screw. That's an acceptable nomenclature as well. Until we're at the surface here. Yeah, no. Not gonna come off easily. Time for the puller. Well, that came off relatively easy. We didn't even really need power tools. We just turned it by hand real quick and boop, came right out. So this needs to go on there, and then that needs to go up there. Yeah. So let's test it out. Got everything swapped in. There you go. Easy peasy. We got our cover put back on with our easy peel, quick release strips. Let's get our breaker, or pardon me, our drop cord plugged back in. And we're good to go here. So we are back to our Pinsetter from last week with the bad brake cam follower bearing. Let's zoom out just a little bit here. We're going to replace our Rake cam assembly. They wanted me to use this one. I wanted to use that one because it's nice and shiny. It's brand new. This will work though. It's still in great shape. It's just not shiny. And we have a new bearing. I have a new inner hub on here pressed onto our bearing stud, so everything is brand new except for the bearing stud. So first things first, we need to remove our X washer. Nope, that was the wrong end. I tightened it up. Hold on. I'm not sure this will come off without a fight. Yeah, there we go. Set our hardware aside. We are going to be using a new X washer. I also oh look, I'm leaking. I also forgot 1 1/4 for the bearing stud. So I've got to go back to the workshop real quick. We got our cam follower bearing swapped out. We put our link rod end back on, new X washer. We're gonna time this at 180 minus 2 revolutions of the gearbox clutch. It's gonna be book spec timing. We don't need to get anything super fancy here. There are plenty of ways to do rake adjustments. We're gonna follow the book. But yeah, check this out. This is that one last week where we had the bad cam. This ring is where the surface of the cam used to be. Look how, that's nearly 1/4 inch of cam surface eaten away here. Crazy, huh? This is why routine inspection and preventive maintenance is so important. It's critical, right? You're gonna save. I don't know how much a new cam costs. I don't know. That looks really nice. Maybe like 400 bucks, 500 bucks. If we had caught this early, it could have just been a bearing. Now it's a bearing and a cam. Probably what, 5 or 6 times the cost. One of the other things that I noticed while I was here is that the sweep link is starting to dig into the side frame. It's actually bowed downward. We're going to loosen the jam nuts and we're going to rotate at 180 so the bow is up away from the frame. So what we can do, we can jog the machine forward until the crank arm is pointed straight up, and then I can use all 6 foot plus 250 freedom units of my mass to stand on that sweep link and straighten it back out. It's gonna go kind of something like this. Boing. That should be a huge help. Our next step is going to be loosening the bolt for our safety, 180 safety stop bracket. We're going to loosen the bolt. We're going to bring the stop bracket back in until it touches. She's got a little gap in there right now. We need to take that gap out. as I was jogging the machine through, the motor kind of struggled. This is a Harbor Freight, cheap Harbor Freight motor, and the machine blacked out on me. I went to look at the fuse. This should be 1 amp. They've got a 15 amp fuse in here. This is no good. This circuit box is gonna fry because we've exceeded that voltage rating, right? Or amperage rating. So I'm gonna go get a 1 amp fuse and swap this out. More than likely, we've tripped a breaker somewhere up front. Yep, check it out. Breaker 36 is tripped. So we're gonna go ahead and flick it off and back on. So our 1 amp fuse probably should have blown if our cheap Harbor Freight motor was pulling that much amperage that it tripped the breaker. That's why I looked at the fuse, because theoretically it should have popped the fuse or tripped a thermal on the motor or something, right? So let's watch this thing sweep real quick. Is it perfect? Nope. But it's pretty damn close. I'm pretty happy with it. Let's put it that way. So the last thing for today, we're gonna pull this motor. It has a bad thermal reset, a clicks on in it. The motor will not run, but if you push the clicks on, the thermal reset in, it will run as long as you hold it in. Yeah, we were here last week for belt tracking. Everything was fine then, right? And then 2 days later, I got a call like, hey, motor's not running. You hold it in, it'll run. You let it go, it shuts off. Crazy. What we're gonna do, we're gonna split our power line here. We're gonna remove our 4 bolts. We're gonna take this off and head back to the workshop. My advice to them was to take it back to this motor repair shop across town and have them replace the thermal reset. They didn't like that idea. They wanted me to give it a shot first. And I said, sure, I'll give it a shot, but I cannot make any guarantees. So they were okay with that. All right, so we removed all of our bolts that went through. We removed our rotor, flathead screw there, and 3 wires. Let's see what this guy's got in it. So motor number 2 here is kind of a dud. There are only 2 wires and all of the insulation is crusty, so that one's out. Then we moved on to unit number 3 here. This one's okay. We're gonna cut down here. Not super proud of it. We're gonna do butt splices. One thought would be like solder shrink, heat shrink solder, but that's low melt temp solder. And the theory is that perhaps if this motor was hot and experienced some type of a thermal event, that solder would melt inside of the heat shrink. So I don't want to do that. I didn't notice it before, but we blew some dust off of it, and look in there. It's cracked. It's cracked in half. Well, that's gonna work, right? It's not perfect, right? But nothing in this world really is. One of the unfortunate things is that Brunswick, unlike AMF, Brunswick never made any provisions for thermal reset replacement, right? It was pretty much take it to a motor shop, buy a new motor, whatever. They didn't make part numbers for individual motor components, unlike AMF. All right, she is all back together. We need to turn it on and verify that it runs. I don't know, does this one deserve a 1, 2, 3, please don't blow up? Run! Run! A little noisy, but hey, whatever. Check our other lane. Yeah. Alright. We are done here. We're gonna have to do the low light version. 36 cam follower, done. 37, 38 accelerator motor, done. 40 done. So that's our list for today. Done. Our mood lighting burnt out back here, so it's even more dungeon-like now.